today's video, we're going to talk about dysfunctional relationships, particularly narcissistic abuse, through the lens of Karpman's drama triangle. If you haven't heard about this, then please stay tuned to find out more. Hi everyone, I'm Athena from Courage Coaching. If you are new here, then welcome, and please click on the subscribe button in order to receive notifications for any new videos that I upload. The drama triangle, which was first introduced by Stephen Karpman, is a tool for helping us understand the different roles that we play in a dynamic, whether that's in a family dynamic or in a relationship, where we unconsciously play different roles of rescuer, persecutor, and victim. And these roles are not always stable. We can move around these roles depending on how somebody responds. And when we understand the drama triangle, this can give us more clarity in what is going on in a relationship when we are constantly arguing and when we are constantly going round in circles. Now, in a narcissistically abusive relationship, the narcissist will usually be the one that is in the persecutor role, but if they are a covert narcissist, they will be in the victim role as well. When you understand the drama triangle and the different roles that each of you plays, this is very useful because it helps you understand the relationship dynamics better. Now, when somebody is a rescuer in the drama triangle, they are the ones that can be self-sacrificing, that can be enabling. They are the person who always wants to fix things, but they can also become quite controlling. On the other hand, when somebody is the persecutor in the relationship, well, they can be highly critical, highly demanding, blaming, aggressive, and not very understanding. And lastly, when someone's in the victim role in the drama triangle, then they look at themselves by saying, "Poor me." They will blame others, they will feel helpless, and they will be manipulative. Now, when we look at the drama triangle and we talk specifically about a narcissist, it's firstly really important to mention that when you are in a conversation with a narcissist, when you are in a relationship or you have a narcissist as a family member, you will notice that you are not on the same team with this person. Conversations are really difficult. They either go around in circles, you feel like you're talking to a wall with the person not really understanding you and not responding in a way that's helpful. You feel like you're always in competition, you're always arguing, and there is constant fights. There are constant ruptures in the relationship, but there isn't any effort to repair. So the narcissist isn't accountable, they aren't able to apologize, they aren't willing to look at things from your point of view. They are always right and you are always wrong. So they have to have the upper hand, and this sort of relationship is not healthy by any means. Now, when a narcissist uses different tactics such as blaming, guilt-tripping, projecting, using the silent treatment, and so on and so forth, they are essentially showing symptoms of being on the drama triangle. Now, the problem with the drama triangle is that when you are sucked in, it is really, really hard to get out of it unless you bring awareness to it, unless you understand how it works and how to get out of it. Now, Stephen Karpman was the one that came up with the drama triangle in the 60s, and it was used very much in family dynamics in order to help family members figure out how to better communicate. And when we look at the drama triangle, we have the rescuer, we have the persecutor, and we have the victim. Now, when we look at the drama triangle, we see, first of all, the rescuer, which is the person that says, "Let me help you." It's the person who is generally overly helpful, likes to be needed, but in many ways can also be an enabler and can be quite controlling because they don't believe that other people are capable of looking after themselves. Then we come to the persecutor role in a drama triangle, where this individual believes that it's always the other person's fault. They can be highly aggressive, they can be highly judgmental, they can be very demanding. And these are usually the people that are bullies. So a narcissist in the drama triangle will most likely be the persecutor. However, the narcissist will also be seen as the victim, especially if they are a covert narcissist. So the victim thinks of themselves as poor me. They blame others, they manipulate others, they always want others to perceive them as helpless. And by doing this, they are always in control and they get their needs met this way. They can also be very passive aggressive when they are in victim mode. Now, what can we do if we see ourselves in any of these roles? How do we help ourselves stay out of this drama triangle? What skills do we need in order to do this? So in order for us to not fall into these different roles, the three key things that we need are assertiveness, empathy, and self-awareness. By empathizing, we are unlikely to be aggressive, therefore we won't be the persecutor in the drama triangle. By being self-aware, we are less likely to rescue others. And by learning assertiveness, we will learn healthy boundaries and we won't play the victim card. We will be healthier in our interactions with others because we will be braver in how we speak to others and how we communicate. Another interesting point worth mentioning when it comes to the drama triangle is that each role that somebody finds themselves in can be very much looked at through the lens of a trauma response. If someone is a persecutor in the drama triangle, then this person's trauma response will be primarily the fight trauma response, as has been mentioned by the brilliant Peter Walker. Also, if somebody is the victim in the drama triangle, then this person's trauma response will primarily be the freeze trauma response. And lastly, when somebody is the rescuer in the drama triangle, then this individual has the fawn trauma response. And also, if we look at it through the lens of our attachment styles, well, somebody who's really anxious is probably the person that will be rescuing others because their self-worth is based on how others perceive them. They have fear of abandonment. And in order to not feel like they're going to be abandoned, they keep doing for others. They feel that their worth is only based on what they do for others rather than who they are. If somebody has the anxious attachment, they may also be the victim because they have a lot of low self-worth, because they don't believe in themselves, because they don't believe that they're able to do things well. So they will play the victim and they'll be in a state of learned helplessness. Now, the persecutor is usually somebody who's avoidant, because a narcissist, if you think about it, they are quite avoidant of things. They avoid emotions that are overwhelming. They avoid taking accountability. They avoid looking at the reality of their behavior, of what they're doing. They would rather externalize, they would rather project onto others and blame others than take accountability and look at themselves. Now, with a disorganized attachment style, well, it could be a combination of both. You can have a bit of avoidant and a bit of anxious in there. So these individuals can go all around the drama triangle in roles of persecutor, victim, and rescuer. Now, if we look at the persecutor role in the drama triangle, this role is based on unhealed wounds from childhood. So there is a lot of shame. These individuals were made to feel bad a lot in their childhood. They need to have a sense of control. And every time there is a conflict, they feel that the other person is an enemy, somebody who's out there to hurt them. And generally, a persecutor always says, I am right and you are wrong. So they always have to have the upper hand. They always have to judge others and point out the mistakes that they've made. And they are never at fault. So this is the typical narcissist. And of course, it's important to say that not every persecutor in the drama triangle is a narcissist. But in many, many cases, this is how it is. Instead of a persecutor trying to heal their wounds, they provoke others to feel what they don't want to feel. And when they do that, they feel better. If the other person decides to confront them about their bad behavior, they will switch from persecutor to victim mode in order to manipulate that person and not be accountable. They will play the victim by calling the other person crazy, by telling the other person, I can't believe you're treating me this way. This is so hurtful. How can you treat me this way? And so on and so forth. Now, the persecutor in the drama triangle is somebody that had no boundaries in their childhood. They had no support. They weren't able to trust others because they didn't have a safe person in their family. They need something outside themselves in order to feel better. And in order to be okay, they need something outside themselves to change. They need to point out that somebody else is incompetent or mean or wrong in order to feel better. Now, if we move on to the rescuer role in a drama triangle, we tend to look at individuals who feel like it is their job to always rescue and fix others. And the rescuer is a person who grew up in a family who was made to feel overly responsible for their parents and their parents' emotions and parents' needs. They were not allowed to express their own emotions. They were not allowed to be an individual. Their parents groomed them into being little human doings rather than little human beings. They were always doing things for their family, and this is how they got love, this is how they got approval. Even if these things may not have been unconditional, they learned that by doing for their family, they wouldn't be abandoned. The rescuers are the individuals who had to stifle their needs again and again. The rescuer is the person who believes that they are not good enough, so the rescuer will fawn. The rescuer will be overly giving towards their parents in childhood, towards their partner in a relationship. And the sad thing about it is many rescuers don't even notice that they're doing it. They just think this is normal. They didn't have a comparison when they were children. They didn't have an understanding that this wasn't healthy. The rescuer is somebody that can figure this out in adulthood when they start doing the healing work, when they figure out that something's not right, that they're giving so much, but they're not getting anything back in relationships, and they start questioning this, and they will start asking questions. They will start trying to understand why they are in a relationship like this and why they are feeling so desperately alone and sad. Now, lastly, if we move into the role of victim in the drama triangle, it is important to differentiate between the victim role and a victim mentality. So somebody who is a victim has usually gone through something awful in their life where they have been deeply hurt, where they have suffered trauma, and they weren't able to escape the situation, right? And of course, there are a lot of victims of war, victims of abuse, victims of many different awful situations. And victims are usually individuals who have experienced something that was completely out of their control. Now, when we're talking about somebody who has victim mentality, on the other hand, we are talking about someone who always feels helpless, who believes that unless somebody else changes their behavior and treats them better, they are not going to be okay. So for them to be okay, other people around them have to cater to their needs. They have to change something in order for them to feel better. And also, people who have this victim mentality also have learned helplessness, so they don't do anything for themselves. They always rely on others to meet the needs that they have. Victim mentality means that we're not willing to change our circumstances, and we stay stuck in this mentality. Because no matter what our circumstances, we are responsible for ourselves. And we are the ones that have to take action in order for something to change in a healthy way. Now, like I mentioned before, the covert narcissist is usually the one that you will see in victim mode more often. But of course, people that are in victim mode are also people that have had trauma, people that have been abandoned, people that have had a lot of grief and a lot of trauma starting from their childhood into adulthood. It's important to understand that we can all move from one role into another and vice versa. So when somebody who's feeling like a victim is told by somebody that, you know what, you need to stop playing the victim, I've had enough, they will then move into the persecutor role where they start screaming at that person and shouting at that person and telling them they need to stop being so nasty. But it can also be that somebody who is a victim is also a rescuer. So they may have a lot of bad luck, they may have not had a lot of support in their life, so they may decide to rescue someone and be there for someone in hope that that will get them the love that they need, the validation that they need, and the approval that they need. So to finalize, when we look at the drama triangle, it's very important to notice which role we fall into and how we can change our role. How do we remove ourselves from this drama triangle? Awareness is key, just like with any sort of dynamic. And when you are in a narcissistically abusive relationship, try and notice what role the person is in. In the comments below this video, I will add a link where you can download the drama triangle diagram that I created, because I think this may be helpful for you going forward when you are trying to figure out what sort of dynamics you are in, so you can see where you are in the drama triangle, because this will help you get out of it. This will give you the awareness that you need in order to move forward, to end a relationship if you have to. So I hope you found this video useful. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed it and if you've seen yourself move from rescuer to victim to persecutor and the other way around. Let me know what your experience is with this. Thank you so much for watching and for listening, as always. And I will see you very, very soon in my next video. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.